All right, let's get to Friday feedback. Friday, I like to take a look at what folks have been saying. We get 5 or 6,000 different comments a day across email, YouTube, TikTok, etc. It's impossible to look at all of them, but I like to take a look at a sampling and see some of the criticisms that people are making, some of the praise, and some of the questions that people are asking. So let's start. First and foremost, let's just get this out of the way, okay? 392 Chapa on YouTube says, who is paying you? This is a question rarely asked in good faith. It usually implies that some nefarious forces are funding this program, or that I only am saying the things I'm saying because someone is giving me money, or whatever the case may be. So let me clarify. We fund this program through 3 general categories. Number 1, memberships, people who just sign up on the website. So like 392 Chapa could just as easily be one of the people paying me as anybody else. That's one of our funding sources. Secondly, some of the platforms we're on provide ad revenue for the little ads that show up like before a video or in between videos. And that includes YouTube, that includes Facebook, that includes more recently TikTok, not Instagram. Okay, so that's another funding source. And then lastly, direct ad sales that we do. So like when you hear me talking about a product or service, that's who pays me. There's no big millionaire or billionaire donor. There's no DNC money. I'm not even a Democrat. I don't know why the DNC would pay me. I tell you things that I like about Democrats and things I don't. Not clear why there would be an incentive there. And that's basically the bottom line. That's it. There's nothing sketchy or secret going on. And one of the great things about that way of being funded is there is no one person that can even attempt to hold money over our heads to get me to say or not say whatever. There's no single advertiser that's so big that they could come and say, hey, we really don't like what you're saying about X or Y or whatever. I would say, listen, we have many advertisers, and aside from the fact that I would never do that, even financially, like you don't really have me over a barrel. Same thing with our audience members. One person who's a member says, David, I will pull my $3 a month if you don't take back that thing you said. There's just no leverage, okay? There's no leverage. So that's who is paying me. And by the way, organizations like the Daily Wire and others actually do have the big donors. Organizations like Turning Point USA have the big donors. Focus on them. There's no exciting story about who's paying us. Scotty wrote in, and Scotty says, I know you won't, but I feel a ton of us want you to run for president. Well, Scotty, I legally cannot run for president of the United States. I was not born in the United States. I was born in Argentina. And at least for now, maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger will get the law changed at some point. I'm not sure. I would not legally be allowed to run for president. So I hate to, if it is true that there are a ton of us that want me to run for president, as Scotty says, I hate to disappoint, but it's just not going to be possible under current law. John Toole says, I wouldn't vote for Chris Christie, but it is nice to hear a Republican sound more like they used to again. It's just nice to see a Republican talking on an adult level again. As of now, Christie really does have the strongest campaign start on the Republican side, hands down. Agree completely. It's not even close. It's not even close. Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign is just a mess. It's like a verbal ink blot. Nikki Haley's campaign is a joke. Tim Scott's campaign is laughable. Mike Pence's couldn't possibly have less energy. Okay, you go through all of them. Then you get to Ron DeSantis. He's just a complete and total disaster in terms of his campaign focus on anti-woke, his inability to, in any remotely charismatic way, actually go against the guy who's leading, which is Trump. Then we get Trump. Okay, you got Trump. It's Christie. And I am not voting for Christie. I'm not a Republican. It's just, if I had to vote for a Republican, it's so obviously Chris Christie, and John is finding that he's coming away with the same perspective. Bruton Road on Reddit says, There's a growing number of people in my community and others believing conservative propaganda that Democrats are the party of slavery and it's working. Why aren't we trying to stop this? Yes, I know Democrats in the 1800s did form the Confederacy, but we also know, pushing the narrative in 2023, that Democrats are the true racist party without full and proper context is clearly agenda-based and not a good faith discussion. My question is, why isn't more being done to combat this? I'm guessing most people are not seeing how big of a problem this is becoming in the Black community. Well, listen, a couple things. First of all, I don't know that it's becoming a big problem in the Black community, because if Black folks were being tricked into thinking that the modern Democratic Party is the party of slavery, you wouldn't see such high levels of support for Democratic candidates from the Black community. Black folks and Jewish folks are the two groups that most vote Democratic in the United States. And my belief is that if either of those groups were falling for the lie that the Democrats of the Confederacy are the Democrats of 2023, you wouldn't see those levels of support. That being said, yes, I do think it would be better to more strongly disabuse people of the notion that there is a connection between Democrats of the Civil War era and Democrats of 2023. In order to explain this, you do have to go into some history about party realignments and different things. I think that it's worth doing. Part of it would be great to do in school at the educational level and prevent people from ever falling for this stuff in the first place. But the one part I take issue with this viewer is that I'm not seeing the evidence that it is really convincing too many people. Doesn't mean we don't want to combat it, but it doesn't seem like as big an issue as this person is worried about. Chris Ortiz comments, what you don't get, bud, is the reason the economy is so strong is because of what Trump did in his first term. And I guess you forget how high inflation really is. I love guys like you. You point at every bad point of a person, but offer no new insight. I bet you call yourself an independent typical, but I may be wrong. Well, listen, I am not a Democrat or a Republican. In that sense, I'm independent, but I don't pretend to be a centrist or anything like that. I'm on the left, but when it comes to economic matters, I try to remove politics as much as possible and just give you the analysis based on the data, the empirical analysis. There is no evidence I can find that the current economic indicators are what they are because of what Donald Trump did in his first term. However, Chris, I also don't go around putting the credit for the economy being what it is squarely on the shoulders of Joe Biden. Presidents in general make tweaks that can affect the general direction of the economy. But much of what is going on is bigger than the United States, and it's certainly bigger than what's in the Oval Office. The point I make about the Biden economy is that there is a group that says Biden doesn't deserve a second term because the economy is so terrible. And there is no empirical data-based case that you can make that proves the economy is terrible. That's my point. Vinny wrote in and says, I find it crazy that DeSantis is now running on, quote, destroying the left, and the media acts like this is normal politics and not fascism. Imagine if a Democrat ran on getting rid of all conservatism. That would be on 24/7 Loop on Fox and any other right-wing outlet. This guy is full on anti-democracy and nobody seems to care. 100%. Listen, that applies to so many stories. Imagine if Barack Obama was indicted on 37 counts and it turned out that he obstructed an attempt to return classified documents to their rightful custodians, that a server room was flooded by draining the pool at his resort, that he had boxes of classified documents stacked up around his toilet. Just imagine how the coverage would be different from the right. And similarly, Ron DeSantis said, I will destroy the leftism if I become president. If Joe Biden said, we will destroy conservatism, they would be saying this guy is an authoritarian fascist, he's dangerous, all of the things that we know they try to say at any opportunity. Vinny is completely right. There is a stunning double standard out there about this issue. Dennis says about Ron DeSantis, he is stopping homosexuality in school, not banning educational books. I don't know if Dennis actually means this, but you realize that if what Ron DeSantis is trying to do is to stop homosexuality in schools, that's extraordinarily disturbing. What does it mean to stop homosexuality? Because Dennis isn't saying stopping discussion of homosexuality in school. Dennis seems to be saying stopping homosexuality in school. You're going to ban gay people from what? Going to school? Teaching? What are you talking about, Dennis? This is someone who's trying to defend DeSantis and actually makes it look even worse. Lastly, on the trans and drag issue, Richard Martin said, if you want to raise your kid to be a freak show, moved to another country. Don't put that stuff in the school system and try to screw up other kids' heads. If you want your kid to be a freak show, that you're a business to take him down to a gay bar, throwing in the door, let them have them and leave a note on his back saying this week, drop off when you're done with them. Have fun, simple, solves the problem. That is one sentence, no punctuation, and it is not even worthy of a response other than to remind you this person also has a Jack Daniels bottle as their profile picture. This is what we are up against. And as I've said before, we're not going to convince Richard Martin that he's wrong in any reasonable amount of time. And so what we have to do instead is activate people who don't plan to vote. That's the much more direct and efficient path towards trying to win elections. Really sad stuff going on in this country. We have a tremendous bonus show for you today. Just a reminder that we will be off on Monday, the federal holiday Juneteenth. I hope everybody has a great Monday, whether you're working or not. We will be off, and then we'll be back the rest of the week. All right, everybody, great bonus show today. Sign up at joinpakman.com. You can use the coupon code INDICTED again. Indicted again.